One of the biggest questions that people have been asking, whether you're a Detroit Lions fan or if you're just a fan of the NFL, are the Detroit Lions Super Bowl contenders or are they Super Bowl pretenders? In this video, I'm going to explain to you why I think the Detroit Lions are Super Bowl contenders. Not that they're going to win a Super Bowl or even make a Super Bowl, but why I think that it is possible for them to do it. I mean, sure, you could say it's possible for any team, but why I think the Detroit Lions have one of the best chances in the NFL, let alone the NFC, to make the Super Bowl. So we're going to go ahead and get started looking at the remaining schedule. Starting with Carolina at home this weekend, I do expect us to win that. It should be a pretty easy win. We're a little banged up, but we were banged up for the last 2 weeks. In Tampa, should be a win. It's kind of a scary game. Tampa's looked good, but we should be able to win that. At least I expect us to. In Baltimore, probably going to be a loss, but we could very well win that easily. We could definitely win that. And then home against the Raiders should be a win. And then I have us losing either the Los Angeles Chargers or the New Orleans Saints game. One of those two will beat the Bears and the Packers. So that's 2 or 3 losses right there. And then we're in Chicago, should be a win. Home against Denver, should be a win. At Minnesota, could be a loss, but probably a win. At Dallas will probably be a loss. And then home against Minnesota. So that right there is like a maximum of 5, maybe six losses maximum. But I would say probably 4 to 5 losses at most, more than likely. You could even say 3, but I would probably say 4, maybe 5 losses on the season. So that right there alone puts the Detroit Lions at 12-5, 11-6, meaning that that's plenty enough for a 3 seed, possibly even a 2 seed if the Philadelphia Eagles start to fall off a little bit. So that should be perfect. So let's go ahead and get into some of the biggest key impact players on this Detroit Lions team that, you need to stay healthy and continue to produce at a high level. Starting with, obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's probably the best player on this team. He's easily the best player in offense. He's a top 10 receiver in the league. Arguably, you could say a top 7 receiver in the league. He's definitely trending towards that at least, maybe even a top 5. So if he continues how he's been playing, now I wouldn't say he's exceeded expectations this year, but I would say he's definitely met expectations. So there's nothing wrong with that. He's got around 20 catches, I believe, and also is averaging close to 100 yards per game, over 10 yards per catch, which was his goal on the year. And he's got 2 touchdowns. So if he continues to increase those numbers, get a touchdown about every single game, he'll easily, he's already a top 10 receiver. You could argue that he's a top 5 receiver. So if he continues to stay healthy and just produce at even just the level he's producing, we're going to add Jameson Williams. He's coming back. He's going to be your big play kind of guy. Amon-Ra St. Brown's more of an 8 to 10 yard catch kind of guy. And then obviously Marvin Jones hasn't really shown anything yet. Josh Reynolds has been Mr. Reliable, underrated. But if Amon-Ra continues to play like this, I really do think that every Super Bowl contender has to have number 1 receiver. You look at teams last year. Chiefs had Kelsey. Eagles had A.J. Brown. So let's see if he can continue to produce. Next up, we have Sam Laporta, a.k.a. Sam Lagoda. This dude has broken a record every single week of his rookie season. He has the most catches in receiving yards that any rookie tight end has ever had, which, I mean, if that doesn't impress you, then wow. I don't know what will, because that's really impressive. He definitely, I wouldn't say, you can't really say if he's an upgrade from TJ Hawkinson, because Hawkinson's having a good year as well. But at the same time, I honestly do think it's an upgrade. I think it's a huge upgrade because you don't have to pay him all that money. So I do think it's a huge upgrade, and I think he's got way more potential. I think he's going to be a George Kittle throughout his NFL career, and I really do hope that he continues to produce at the level he's producing at. If he just continued how he's playing throughout the rest of the season, he'd be over 100 catches on the season, which would be phenomenal. So we'll see. Next up, we have not only David Montgomery, but we also have just the run game in general, Jahmyr Gibbs, the offensive line. But really just looking at David Montgomery and what he does for this team. I know a lot of people are confused. Why is Jahmyr Gibbs not playing more? Why is he not getting more usage? It's because you're not always looking for a big play every single play. Jahmyr Gibbs running through the tackles only averages, a yard or 2 per carry, which is fine. That's not what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to be the big play, run to the outside, maybe take it out of the shotgun and run it in. David Montgomery's the guy that's going to get you 2, 3, 4 yards every carry. He's averaging about 4 yards per carry. And he's exactly what we want him to be. He's a better version of Jamal Williams. And he's been a workhorse. The dude's just a tank, and I love him. And now not only one of the best defensive players on this team, but one of the best defensive players in the NFL, Aiden Hutchinson, who currently has the 5th best odds to win Defensive Player of the Year. And even if he doesn't win it, it really doesn't matter to me because he's doing everything we need him to do. The Chiefs game, I know he didn't show up on the stat sheet, but damn, did he have a good game. getting pressure on Mahomes and just doing his job. It's exactly what you want him to do. And then now the last 2 games, it's either 2.5 or 3.5 sacks that he's had, plus a forced fumble and fumble recovery. The dude, NFC Defensive Player of the Week the other week. He's been everything you wanted him to be when you drafted him. If he continues to play like this, our defense is going to be great. And then one of the other rookies, the other second-round rookie, I should say, Brian Branch. How about the season he's having? He's actually the front runner for Defensive Rookie of the Year, except I think he's just behind Jalen Carter. So what a season that he's off to. Obviously, the pick 6 to start of the year against Patrick Mahomes. And then, I mean, we're not going to talk about the Seahawks game because that was just a dead of a game. I don't know what happened there. Honestly, if we rematched the Seahawks, I think we'd win like pretty easily. I just think that was a bad game. I think that it was kind of a trap game in a way. And we just weren't ready to play, I guess. Defense didn't show up, but I think we played them again, we'd for sure win easily. I think we'd for sure win. But looking at Brian Branch and the season he's having, he had that 11 solo tackle game against the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, he blew up. I mean, Bijan Robinson got sent flying like 3 yards and his helmet came off. This dude was just a monster in that game. He's been awesome all year. He went down with a couple scary injuries, one against the Chiefs, came back, and then the Green Bay Packers got carted off the field. I thought his season was over for sure. Thought it was a torn Achilles. Oh, nope, he's back, and he was playing after getting carted off, which you don't see very often. So he's tough, and he has been everything you wanted him to be. What a steal of a pick. Probably the biggest steal of the draft, at least defensively. And he's been an excellent player so far. Now I want to get into some of the honorable mentions, starting with Cam Sutton, who is the definition of a lockdown corner. He has been everything we wanted him to be. One of the most underrated players in the NFL, let alone on this team. Josh Reynolds, unsung hero of the offense. He's had an excellent year. Hopefully he continues to produce because he's been awesome. Love what he's been doing. Alex Anzalone, not a lot of people love him, but man, after this season, I think a lot of people are already starting to fall in love with him even more. He's been excellent this year. Hopefully he continues to produce. And then obviously I got to mention Jameson Williams now that he's back. Probably going to be one of our biggest playmakers on offense. If he can continue what he did at Alabama, man, he's going to be dangerous. I think he can be a top 5 to 10 receiver in the NFL by next year. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, once he starts getting more usage, which he will, it's only week 4, and he does a ton of things outside of that in the schemes that we use as well, play action. He's tough to guard, so I love what he's been doing. He's been great. Hopefully he continues to do good. Dan Campbell, what a job he's been doing this year. Had the one, kind of rough game in Seattle, but you know what? He bounced back. Aaron Glenn, what a season that he's been having. Also another coach that since Seattle has just been amazing. Got to give him his credit. And then Ben Johnson, the wizard of the offense, who struggled. He didn't really do great in that Chiefs game, but man, he has been play calling well the last couple games. So you got the coaches, you got the team, you got the stud players, and you've got the want and the grit. The Detroit Lions are one of the grittiest teams in the NFL. They're one of the most just like, oh, big game, it's an away game, it's prime time, we're going to show up. And that's what makes me believe, whether it's the playoffs or not, the Lions are going to show up for any big game. Sure, there's going to be games they don't show up. It happens with every team. The Eagles almost lost to the Commanders at home. So there's teams and games that just don't go your way. But, man, this team has everything it takes. I think that Jared Goff's fully capable of getting this team to the playoffs. And once we get fully healthy, this team is going to be easily a top 3 to 4 team. They're already ranked as top 5 team in the NFL. So I'm excited. Let me know what you guys think about this team. And, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.